Hey everyone, happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope everyone's doing well. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. I don't want that to be the focus of this video. Today I want to get into some movie news, and then we'll talk about something right after that. But before we get into that, just hope everyone's staying safe, staying in, washing hands, doing all the good things. So this is what many were expecting to happen, and it did. This is something my wife and I were talking about recently because we live in Arkansas, and so what we see right now is schools are being shut down, and most businesses are closing up shop for a brief period of time. Most are kind of giving some actual dates of when they'll come back. But, I'm a fan of movies. I really enjoy going to the movie theater. It's one thing I love to do. I try to do that at least once a month if I can. And that's kind of been on my radar, is like, what's going to happen with movies? And my wife and I were talking about this. I was like, I bet you newer movies will come to streaming services or come to some format where you could rent them from home. And sure enough, that's what we're seeing. It was just announced the other day that Universal is going to be taking movies, even movies that are in theaters now. So we know The Invisible Man, The Hunt, Emma. These are going to be released pretty soon, if not by now. I haven't looked to see where you can actually rent them, but you can stay at home and rent them. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. This is a big game changer. I'm viewing this, as well as many others, as this is kind of going into this new era, similar to when Netflix first came out. When you had this new thing where I could just, rent DVDs and get them in the mail. Well, now it's going to be, here's these big blockbuster pictures that I can just rent them from home instead of going to a movie theater, which is fine. But the movie theater, it's an experience. It's something I really enjoy, and it's an experience that I hope that I can share with my kids when they get older and continue just to go watch movies on a gigantic screen as I get older. So, it'll be interesting to follow this path to see how it goes. The one thing is the price point. So we're looking at $20 for a 48-hour rental. So initially I thought the price may have been too high, but when you really think about it, it's not too bad. I mean, it's like basically you're spending $10 a day to watch a brand new movie. And you look, I've got a large family, so if my whole family could go to the movie theater, we'd easily be spending about $100. Like, you look at, you're buying ticket prices, and then if you get concessions, depending on what kind of screen you go to, because you go to an IMAX, you go to a larger XD screen, are you going to more of a local theater, because their pricing may be different as well. So looking at spending $100 to go out and see a movie versus $20 to stay at home and watch it, it's great. Now, going into that, the kind of movies, like looking at the movies that are upcoming, you look at like Mulan and Antlers and A Quiet Place 2. These are massive budget movies, especially like Mulan. Probably Mulan over something like Antlers or A Quiet Place 2. But these are movies I'd much rather go see in a big screen before I watch them at home. So it's hard to say if these will come out to video on demand versus theater, or if they'll just kind of hold off and do the theater release. That's what's really fascinating to me. So I'm curious to see where that goes. So I wanted to share that news with you. I'm sure most of you already know about that, but I'm curious on your thoughts. Are there movies where you would be upset if they choose to go video on demand versus just holding out to get back into theaters? Things for me would be like Tenet. I think Tenet's one I would much rather see in a movie theater versus watching from home. Whereas something like this is kind of like been talked about by so many other YouTubers, but you look at something like The New Mutants. This movie has been continuously pushed back and pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. I think this should just go to like Disney Plus. I think that would be the smartest decision at this point for this film, because it was finally going to get its theatrical release this year, but now that that's been pushed back or put on pause again, like, just go ahead and release that movie. Things like that would be okay. Whereas you're looking at these bigger ones. You look at like New Mutants versus Mulan. It's gonna to me it makes more sense for New Mutants to come out to like streaming versus Mulan. Family oriented movies. So like the upcoming Trolls movie. That makes a lot more sense to come to a video on demand service. Just so I'm not taking my kids out, and potential, getting sick or anything. So, what are your thoughts? Are there any movies coming out that you would love to just stay at home and watch versus you would hold out to watch in a theater? Would love to know. So, moving past that, since we're all stuck at home, how about some recommendations? So, thought it'd be fun to do streaming recommendations. If we're stuck at home for weeks, hopefully all of you, if you're stuck at home, you're still able to work. But if you have the time off to get to spend with family or get to catch up on things, well, here's some recommendations. So I've got my computer here. So these are just some of the services that I use, and I'm only going to pick out a couple of things. So let's get going. So Netflix, Ozark. I think Ozark's a great recommendation. So the third season is actually coming out in about a week at the end of this month. So currently I've been rewatching seasons 1 and 2. It's a series I really enjoy, so I think it'd be a great time if you've never watched it, catch up on it because season 3 is about to come out. Better Call Saul, another great recommendation. So if you've seen Breaking Bad, this is the prequel to that, following the journey of Saul Goodman. Season 5 is currently airing right now on AMC, so if it's a show like, you've not seen or haven't watched season 5, now would be a good time just to rewatch seasons 1 through 4 before season 5 would come to Netflix after it's done airing, probably in about a year, possibly 2, hopefully not too long. Next one's a few movies. The Irishman. This is actually one I have not watched yet, but it's one that it's high on my list to check out. This is one that Netflix backed. So this is a big budget movie. This is a 3.5 hour long movie. That's really the main reason I haven't watched it. It's so long. It's going to take some time to, I've got to find an evening or an afternoon or a weekend to sit down and try to watch this. But if you're at home now and you've got the time, check this one out. I think this is a big support for films that get budgeted by streaming services. A couple other ones, Marriage Story. It's definitely going to be a different kind of a mood, especially in the kind of the mood we're in currently, but this is still probably my top ranked movie of 2019. I just think the story is really incredible. The acting is really incredible. Definitely check it out. Another one is Good Time. So if you've seen Uncut Gems, Good Time is by the same guy, so check that one out. I think this one's really fun movie to see Robert Pattinson in a whole different light. I know a lot of people are like still getting the hate for the upcoming Batman movie, but watch this. I think you can really see him in a different sense in terms of his acting. Hulu, a couple things. Good Girls, that's a series I'm really enjoying right now. It's on season 3. So if you've got Hulu, you can watch it next day because it's currently airing. But yeah, catch up on seasons 1 and 2. Good Girls, I think you can find that on Netflix as well. So catch up on that. Watch the current season on Hulu. Atlanta, so Hulu just, because Disney's the primary shareholder, FX has just moved their shows onto Hulu. So if you've not seen Atlanta, it's a fantastic show. Check that out. For Amazon Prime, Honey Boy. So this was written and directed. I may need to look this up real quick. But anyway, this is a story about Shia LaBeouf. He did write this, but he did not direct this. My mistake on that. But check this out. This is about the story of Shia LaBeouf. I thought it was really fantastic. I was able to see this in theater last year, so definitely check it out. Mid-90s. This one was written by Jonah Hill. This one's really very nostalgic for me, especially if you grew up in the 90s, so check that out. A couple of series. The Boys is an Amazon original. If you're into the superhero, this does kind of go into a superhero genre, but it's very different than most superhero shows you've seen or movies. So it's a series. Check it out. There's a season 2 coming. Mr. Robot. So this is on USA. The show is officially complete. The final season has not been distributed to Amazon Prime yet, but the other seasons are. It's one I've watched multiple times. Definitely enjoy it, so check that out. For HBO, Westworld Season 3 just premiered this past weekend. I think the show is fantastic. I thought Season 3, Episode 1 was fantastic, so definitely check this out. The Outsider, another good show. Maybe I'll talk about this one in another video. I think it's really good. Not to get into too much, the ending kind of took me by surprise, so maybe I'll do a video and talk about that. But The Outsider, check it out. McMillions is another limited run. It's actually a podcast as well, but this goes into the McDonald's monopoly fraud story. So it's kind of like a docuseries. It's only 6 episodes, I think. It's pretty short. Really good. Check it out. Succession, another really solid show. One that's really impressed me. It's only a couple seasons. Check that out as well. And then lastly, if you've got Disney Plus, check out The Mandalorian, which I'm sure so many of you have by now. But if you've got the time and you're new to Disney Plus or haven't watched that, it's really solid show. So anyway, that is some streaming recommendations. Again, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe. I'm going to try to do the best I can with this channel. I do have another video that's been shot. I just haven't had the time to edit it. So that is it's one video talking about Birds of Prey, which also that one's coming out to VOD. Parasite. Oh, I should have included that. Parasite is coming to Hulu, but it will not be available until sometime in April. But check that one out when it comes to Hulu. And then Frozen 2. So I talk about all 3 of those. So I need to edit that. So that's an upcoming video. A couple of other series I just finished I was going to talk about were I Am Not Okay With This and Lock and Key. So I thought about putting those in one video as well. So those are a few videos I'm trying to work on outside of this. And yeah, so thanks for watching. So yeah, to wrap this up, if there's anything you recommend in terms of streaming, I tend to try to ask this every couple months within my social channels just to see what people are watching. But if there's anything you really recommend on any of these services or any other service, let me know. Let people know in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Stay safe, everyone. Peace.